I hope I sound okay. I don't have my earbuds, so hopefully I sound all right. Jimmy and I just got done taping Never Settle down here at he doesn't have a man room. He has a man warehouse. I mean, it's you can't hide money, David.
Look at that place. I was going to ask you where you're. That is a beautiful place, man.
Look at this, dude.
Wow.
Look at all the trophies and stuff.
That's freaking fantastic.
Yeah, man. Like I say, you can't hide money. When you win 83 races and 7 championships and you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, you need somewhere to put it all.
One day I'm going to visit you in Charlotte, and I'm going to try to see if I can get that tour.
His bourbon just got rated #1 in the world, too. So that guy, he's just got it going on.
He's just winning, man. The team that's winning a lot, Oklahoma. And it's interesting because there are certain teams that I feel like I haven't learned enough about yet to really gauge where they're going. I think Oklahoma, I've learned enough. They still have a very rough road ahead because their schedule is very intimidating. But I feel like I got a good handle on them. Where are you on Oklahoma?
I do too. They have a very distinct culture. And I think so often in college football, when you have a team that takes its identity of the head coach, I think we've talked about this with Mike down there in College Station. It really does permeate. And then when you get a quarterback who comes over, who has a built-in relationship with the offensive coordinator already, with John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle both coming over from Washington State, the quarterback already knows the offense. So when he shows up, all he has to think about is relationship building and building a leadership within himself to lead these guys. And then to go out and perform at the level he's performing, they're a problem. And, man, that defense is nasty. And, again, that goes back to BV and him being a defensive guy and having all those great defenses at Clemson when he was working for Dabo. They really are a good football team. Now, conversely, on the other side, I was very impressed with Auburn too. Jackson Arnold came in there and, getting booed when he ran onto the field, and to have the poise that he had and to play as well as he played. Not only were they in that game, they could have won that game. And I know a lot of Auburn fans are looking at the officiating. There were some calls where you kind of go, oh, they missed that one. And the SEC admitted that they missed one that was very instrumental in the outcome of that game. And so if I'm Coach Freeze, I am very optimistic about the team that I have, the guy I have behind center. Of course, Cam Coleman, one of the best in the country on the perimeter at the wide receiver position. So things to me at Auburn, even though they didn't win, I feel a real upward trajectory. At Oklahoma, they look like a playoff team right now to me.
So to Auburn, A&M gets them this weekend. They're a team that I don't feel like I know them as well as I know Oklahoma, even though they've, they had the Baylor game, they had the Oklahoma game. That being said, those wide receivers really worry me, but their offensive line seems to be a problem. So, like when you look at A&M and try to project forward, how does A&M neutralize what Auburn does well?
The defensive front. If that defensive front, which is very good, can be disruptive, and honestly, this is so football speak, but if they stay gap sound, because Jackson Arnold is really dangerous running the football. We've seen that when he was at Oklahoma and now at Auburn. He can be a real problem with his legs. So if they can stay gap sound, that to me is the sauce, and get pressure on him with the front, then they'll have a really good chance. And then on the other side of the ball, I love what A&M's doing offensively, man. I said it from the first time we started talking this season. Marcel Reed did not get the respect he deserved coming into this season because a lot of people didn't know if he could stretch the field. And that guy can do that, and we know what he can do with his legs. I really like this A&M team a lot. Said it last week. They are in the national narrative and should be.
Marty, I'm super intrigued by this Arkansas-Notre Dame game for a couple reasons. A, I want to see what Arkansas does against Notre Dame because I think it'll give me a better gauge of A&M. against, when how good they were against Notre Dame and how good they could potentially be against Arkansas. That offense to me is salty, but their defense seems to be having some issues.
Oh man, Sam Pittman, one of the greatest men, one of the greatest dudes I've ever been around, and a really good football coach. And to lose the way they've lost, if you're a Hog fan, is just gutting. Taylon Green, phenomenal behind center. Bobby Petrino has been an offensive savant forever and ever. Amen. They're really good offensively, but man, their defense is pretty porous right now, and they got a lot of stuff to shore up. They got to learn how to stop the run. I'll be interested to see what happens in this game too, with what also seems to be a bit of an issue defensively for Notre Dame. I mean, they might score 100 points in this game combined with what we've seen from both teams. And I agree with you. We're going to learn a lot about Notre Dame in this game, and we're going to learn a lot about the value of that victory for the Texas A&M Aggies.
Marty, now I'm thinking about Florida, and there's a point. I thought that Billy Napier potentially could have been fired now because of the bye week. He's still their head coach. And I still think that team has got some wins against teams that are not expecting it, right? I don't think they're as bad as their record, and I think they're going to sneak up on a good team, potentially Texas in a couple weeks. Hopefully not A&M, but I still feel like they got a couple of wins. But can Billy last long enough to see those wins?
I hope so. I know he's a great football coach. There's a lot of Florida Gator fans who disagree with me. But to me, context is really important here. They shouldn't have lost to South Florida if you look at it on paper. If you look at, this brand or that, Alex Golish has built a great program at South Florida. But there were disciplined plays in that game. There were fundamental failures in that game that lost that game. All right? Shouldn't lose it, but they lost it. Ultimately, it's a results-based business. Now, if you look at the Miami game, Miami's one of the best teams in America. And Florida was down 3 of their best players on the defensive front. And so, that's a hell of a thing to overcome. The great teams in college football are rolling 8, 9, 10 defensive linemen in and out of games. And Florida's down 3 of their best players at that position. And DJ Lagway is running for his life. Of course, he threw those 5 interceptions against LSU, and obviously that was a major problem. I don't know what's going to happen with Billy, but I know, David, that he's a really good football coach. And I don't know what's coming, man. I'm not a big hot take guy. I'm not going to sit here and say I know what's going to happen or what should or shouldn't happen. But ultimately, you got to win games. And unfortunately for them, if you look at that schedule, there is not another easy week. It's just it's the hardest schedule in America.
When you look at this LSU Ole Miss game, which team do you feel like you know best?
Which team do I know best? I am very confident in LSU was my preseason national championship pick. Ironically, it was due to the offense. Mm-hmm. I don't know a lot about that offense right now, but I know that defense is awesome. DBU is back in Baton Rouge. We know a whole lot about the talent that they have. We know a whole lot about Harold Perkins being so disruptive, that defensive front being great. But to me, the best player on the field has been Mansour Delane, who's a Virginia Tech transfer, much to my chagrin, as a guy who grew up a Hokie fan. That guy is awesome, number 4 for LSU, and has been such an incredible X factor for Blake Baker and how multiple he can be and how dynamic they can be defensively. Now, as they make their way through this schedule, which is hard as hell, Nussmeier's going to be fine, and they're going to figure it out. But I think that's kind of right now, people are sort of looking at the LSU offense going, I'm not sure about, I don't really know what I'm looking at here. Now, on the other side, people are talking about, all right, now is there a quarterback competition at Ole Miss? I don't think so. And Lane is a savant. Lane is a brilliant at looking what the defense presents and taking advantage of it. So I guess if the question is, which team do I know better? I'll say it's LSU just because I feel like I know what they have defensively and I feel like they're making strides offensively. So I would go with them. Now, man, that game's going to be awesome. It's going to be, I thought we might be there. We're going to go to Bama, Georgia, which is also awesome. But it's going to be a good one down there in Oxford.
Marty, I saw this stat this morning when I emailed you. Alabama, Georgia, since Bama beat them last year, the Crimson Tide are 6-5, which I didn't realize it was that bad. That being said, seen some life from them recently. And yes, you can talk about the caliber of opponent. That being said, what are you seeing from Bama?
I think that loss to Florida State was a come to Jesus moment. I think that the reaction among the players internally was very direct. And we're going to learn a lot on Saturday. Georgia's really good. They escaped Knoxville, Tennessee in an absolute heater against Tennessee Volunteers. I feel like I know a lot about Georgia. I see a lot better Alabama team, and I'm going to tell you why. I see a different urgency. I see a lot of young men and a coaching staff that looked in the mirror and said, we didn't prepare properly for Florida State. And I can tell you that at the player level, there was a lot of self-accountability talk. There was a lot of looking at yourself and going, okay, we're Alabama. We didn't play to the standard, and that's on me. Not even us. There was a lot of players that was on me. And so, yeah, I see a different Alabama personally from an urgency perspective.
Marty, is Drink the most underappreciated head coach in college football? Because that guy, changed the quarterback, changed the running back, different players on defense. They still bring it. And I know the schedule isn't ridiculous. I get that. But I still see something from what he does and the culture that he's building and the way they win games. Do you agree with me that he's, if not 1B in the most underappreciated coaches?
Yeah, absolutely and unequivocally I do. He's a really smart football mind. He knows who he is, and his players love playing for him. And he does have a lot of talent. They do have a lot of talent. I really like Prabula. Hardy is kind of one of the breakout guys in the conference. And offensively, they're a juggernaut. And don't forget, David, we're talking about Blake Baker and that incredible defense he's built at LSU. He was Drink's DC before BK took him brought him to Baton Rouge. And they had an unbelievable defense in Missouri when he was there too. So, yeah, he is underappreciated, and not by me. And I can speak for McGee, not by Ryan McGee either. We were both on to him when he was at App. And so I appreciate him as a person, and I appreciate the leader he is. And even though he's a guy that's funny in the media and is the king of one-liners and all that, when you get him in the locker room, when he's with his guys, uber intense and no BS. And it's working very well.
Marty, I appreciate your time, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
Always, man. I appreciate y'all having me. Have a great week. Look forward to chatting with you next time around.
Actually, wait. I should have asked you this. What did you guys record today? What's up on the podcast?
We had our great buddy Jason Sehorn, who, of course, was a New York Giant and a St. Louis Ram. And he's been a friend of Jimmy and mine for many years, 15 or 20 years, and has just tremendous perspective on a lot of pieces of life. This is going to be a two-parter. We taped the first part today because we have a lot of funny stories with him too. But today it was much more intentional about all the times that Jason didn't settle. He's a very direct man in a world where, in a lot of cases, people are afraid to say things. Jason is fearless to say things. And so we got into him with all of those moments, which are many for him, when he just refused to settle. And it's a very interesting conversation. We just finished very interesting conversation with a great, great friend and a great dude.
Well, I appreciate it. Looking forward to it, my man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Have a great day.